I've previously made a video discussing the controversy surrounding Part 2 of Chainsaw Man, and since then, we've had several developments within the story itself. Not only that, but with the release of the Reize movie, there are a lot more people reading and waiting to see what happens next. But rather than discuss that, I want to take a look back and evaluate the current state of the series and what's led us to this point. Because right now, Chainsaw Man feels like it's at a crossroads, both narratively and artistically. Chainsaw Man is in a weird spot. It's a spot that helps it maintain relevance while also enabling many of its critics to provide ammunition as to why it may not be as strongly written or well drawn as Part 1. What I mean is that Chainsaw Man is a series that's best enjoyed in a binge rather than week to week. During Part 1 serialization, the show remained fairly niche or underground, but since Part 2 started, we've gotten not only Season 1, but a hit movie as well, and now, more than ever, Chainsaw Man is becoming popular. With this popularity comes many who will either love or hate its story, but the biggest thing is Fujimoto's writing style. His writing lends itself well to the binge format of content consumption, and Part 1 benefited from that greatly. Having the whole package laid out in front of you enables you to enjoy it at your own pace. However, in Part 2, we're forced to wait 1 or sometimes 2 weeks per chapter. This isn't helped by the fact that Part 2 contains shorter chapters as well. With Fujimoto's writing style, it's hard to see why he makes certain decisions, and isn't until many weeks, months, or even years later that we actually get payoffs for the things that he sets up. And honestly, who can blame us? We live in a world of instant gratification. Waiting 2 weeks for a 14-page chapter can feel brutal. That disconnect is real, and by the time the payoff arrives, most of us barely remember the setup, whereas by reading it all together, you're much more likely to remember small details and beats that add up throughout the story. But our faith in Fujimoto doesn't just hinge on his storytelling, it's also tied to what we see on the page. Believe it or not, trust plays a big part in the consumption of media. As viewers/readers, we put our trust into those who create. We trust them to give us a satisfying story and good quality entertainment. Many of us fans of Chainsaw Man have already given Fujimoto our trust, as we believe in his ability to craft a wonderful story and give us a good conclusion. But many who've only just started Chainsaw Man haven't built that level of faith in him yet and aren't too keen on where the story may go. Some simply aren't on board with the direction Part 2 is taken, and that's completely fine. Trust, faith, and confidence, all of it is what enables us to persevere and get through the roughness of a weekly story, and once Part 2 ends, we'll be able to look back and see just how brilliant, or not so brilliant, of a writer Fujimoto truly is. But writing isn't everything. Chainsaw Man isn't a novel, it's a manga, and the other half of said trust is our trust in his visual style. In my video discussing the controversies of Part 2, I mentioned how the art shifted from Part 1 and even from the early chapters of Part 2. While many of my feelings about Part 2's art still remain true, one thing I glossed over was the issue of Fujimoto and many other mangaka's health and work-life balances. It's no secret that making manga isn't easy. Putting aside the talent it takes to be able to write and draw a comprehensive story, requiring to put in so much effort every week is an incredible undertaking. Many mangakas have assistants, yes, but the brunt work is still done by the authors. Looking at the art of Part 1 and Part 2, Fujimoto's style is still there, but many of his iconic and creative quirks have been stripped down. This is a definite criticism of Part 2, and I won't say that the art is better or of equal quality, but it's more important to remember the state of the world we're in now versus when Part 1 was being made. Season 1 of the anime started right after Part 2 began. Not only that, but the movie just released as well. The movie adaptation of Look Back was also released. Fujimoto is not only juggling his weekly manga series that's gained a ton of more notoriety, but he's also had to split his attention between the adaptations of his work. When you take all of this into account, it's easy to see why Fujimoto would be forced to take shortcuts here and there. And considering all of that, the art still remains of good quality. So, in my opinion, the storytelling of Part 2 is on par with, or even surpasses Part 1 in many ways. Although the art has definitely shifted, I don't think it's of lesser quality, but rather a more streamlined and healthier style that Fujimoto has used and evolved as a way of balancing his life and work. As readers and fans of Chainsaw Man, we're forced to trust him with this story and characters because at the end of the day, they are his creations, and looking back at Fujimoto's work, I think we're in good hands. Thank you for watching.